Hey, Shalom Shalom Mishpacha! Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. I'm your host, Rabbi Yehuda ben Shomer, and today I would like to answer a question that I get quite often regarding Gentiles and Passover. The question comes from the verse that is found in Shmot, Exodus chapter 12, verse 48. It says, "And when a stranger," which means a Gentile, a goyim, "shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to Adonai, let all his males be circumcised." In other words, he must be a convert. "And then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as one that is born in the land. For no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof." So the question is, all right, well, we have Passover Seders here in the modern day, and Gentiles come to these Seders all the time. Matter of fact, there's actually Jews that go out to churches and hold Seders in churches for the church. So what's the deal here? Simple, very simple. At this current time, there is no temple standing on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Therefore, there is no working Levitical priesthood that is able to take sacrifices and to sacrifice them to Adonai. The Passover lamb is a sacrifice. It was taken to the temple to be slaughtered, then it was taken back home to be cooked and eaten. And therefore, whoever participated in the Passover Seder back when the time that the temple was still standing must be circumcised, because the main dish at that Passover was the Paschal lamb, which had been sacrificed at the temple, and no uncircumcised person, no Gentile, somebody who is not attached to Israel through conversion, cannot eat of something that has been sacrificed, something that is holy and sacred unto Adonai. Now today, there's some people who have lamb at their Passover Seders, but lamb is discouraged because we're not to have a lamb at the Seder since there is no temple, and the lamb that people do have at modern day Seders has not been sacrificed at the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. It's just a lamb that's been butchered, and it's been kosherly butchered, and you cook it for the Seder. And so it has no connection to a sacrifice, it has no connection to the temple, and therefore Gentiles are allowed to eat lamb at Passover in the modern day. So we invite Gentiles to come and participate in Passover because it helps us to educate them about the Hebraic roots of the Christian faith, because Yeshua participated in Passover, and it's almost an evangelistic witnessing type of tool to the Gentile until the fullness of the Gentiles come and prophecy is fulfilled. So it is perfectly acceptable, perfectly permissible, and okay to have Gentiles at modern day Passover Seders, again, because traditionally lamb is not served, because it reminds us of the destruction of the temple. But if lamb is served, it's not a sacrifice, it's just been kosherly butchered, so it's okay to eat. But Passover Seders during the time when the temple stood, Gentiles were not permitted to attend these Seders because the main dish, again, was the Passover lamb, which had been sanctified and has been set apart and was sacrificed, ritually slaughtered at the temple, and therefore it was as if it was a sacrifice unto Adonai. It was taken back home and prepared, and therefore it's considered sacred, it's considered holy. No one who's not a part of the covenant of Abraham may participate in eating that Passover lamb. That's why it says in Exodus that all Gentiles, if they want to participate in the Passover, must be circumcised. In other words, they must convert. They must be a convert to Judaism. They must enter in the covenant of Abraham through circumcision, as the rest of his household must be converted if they're going to eat the Passover lamb that was in the Passover Seders during the time when the temple stood. But seeing as there is no temple and no Levitical priesthood, and we don't serve lamb at Passover Seders in the modern day, and if we do, it's not considered a sacrifice because it wasn't ritually slaughtered in Jerusalem at the Temple Mount. It's just simply kosherly butchered, and therefore Gentiles in the modern day are permitted to attend and partake in the Passover Seders. Now, when Mashiach returns and the temple is rebuilt, and we make Aliyat to Israel and keep the Passover Seder during the reign of Mashiach, Then we take the Passover lamb to the temple and it's ritually slaughtered. And again, Gentiles who are not circumcised are prohibited from partaking of Passover Seder such as that. So until the Mashiach returns, and until the temple's rebuilt and we start sacrificing at the temple again, it's perfectly acceptable for Gentiles to come and participate in the Passover Seder. I encourage it because it's educational. It opens eyes, spiritually and mentally and emotionally, and it helps Gentiles to understand the Hebraic roots of the faith and what Yeshua truly meant when he had his last Passover Seder with his Talmudim. So hopefully this answers your question. Thanks for all your questions and for your comments and for all your kind and encouraging words and your support and prayer. Thank you so much. Shalom and Shavuot Tov. Bye-bye.